Hey bitch, lovely ladies, girly girls, or as my A-push teacher would say, hello little kittens. No, I'm not kidding. Oh, what's that feeling that's building up in your stomach, you might ask? Well, my friends, that would be secondhand embarrassment. Let's just take a minute to think and really let it settle all around us. Okay, time's up. Well, anyway, welcome back to my podcast, and TBH, I don't really know why people listen to this, but hello, welcome. And it's honestly so cool that people listen to these episodes when they don't know who I am. Like, that's pretty rad. Also, we're on episode 7, so that's pretty cool too. Today's episode is pretty basic, but I thought since my podcast was fairly new that I should at least tell y'all while I decided to start the Girly Girl podcast. And don't fret, I'll be sprinkling in some tips and advice along the way. So without further ado, let's go. Oh my gosh, why did that just make me think of the Disney song? Sally Gadoola, Minchie Kaboola, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. Put it together and what have you got? Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. Weird. Whatever. So let's just jump straight into the best and worst of the week. So for the best of the week, it was, I guess, just to say it in a few words, outshine popsicles. So my favorite flavor is peach, and I went to the store with my sister, who we're twins, but she has her license and I don't, because scared of driving. It's funny, it's not, it's fine. Yay. Well, anyway, so she drove us to Kroger, which if you don't live where there's a Kroger, it's just like a grocery store. And I was looking for my favorite flavor, which is peach, but they were all out and I got super sad and I was looking everywhere and they didn't have any. And they literally even had like, what's it called? That, pinkish red fruit with the seed. Pomegranate. Yeah, pomegranate. They even had like freaking pomegranate and coconut. Like, no one eats those. And like chocolate dipped pomegranate. Like, bitch, give me some peach. Give me some peach up in this bitch. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, so I got some pineapple and it was actually pretty good. Not as good as the peach, but I mean, it was pretty good. And in case you didn't know, I prefer popsicles and sorbet over like any milky, ice creamy desserts because I feel like they're healthier and taste more natural, which I doubt both of those are true. They definitely aren't healthier or more natural, but like whatever. I like fruit, okay? I like fruit. I like strawberries. I love smoothies, and it's just so good. But when I went to Kroger with my sister, it was so fun to spend some time with her and just walk around in the Kroger. If you live in a small town, you know what I mean. Just like when you're so bored and you just walk around in a grocery store like Walmart or something. It's like the only fun thing to do besides like going to a park or something. People in big cities are like, what is she talking about? And so my sister actually goes to boarding school and she's leaving on October 2nd. So I've been trying to hang out with her more or go driving with her, pretty much whatever I can just to hang out with her. Even when I feel super tired or overwhelmed with schoolwork, stuff for my blog or for this podcast. And my sister Hadley and I, we have a love-hate relationship. On her end, it's probably mostly hate, but I love her. Apparently I'm annoying, but I feel like all siblings say that. Whatever. So I'll definitely miss her when she's away, and my worst of the week is kind of related to this, but it's just that my siblings are leaving for boarding school soon, and I have a younger brother, Reed, who I talked about in the previous episode, and yes, he's the stupid, idiot, little asshole piece of shit. No, I'm not being mean or being extra. He just is. Okay, if you met him, you would understand. And so both my siblings go to a boarding school in Virginia, and we live in Kentucky, and it's going to be pretty sad to see them leave because they've been home since March because of Corona and the pandemic, and they had their spring break then, so they've been home since their spring break, which they usually aren't home this long or for this much time. So it's just been kind of weird, and it'll be really different when they're not here and the house is super quiet. And my sister says that she's pretty happy to be going back and getting away from the family, especially my mom. They don't have a very good relationship, but I know she'll miss me. Not to flex. She probably won't, but I keep telling myself that she will miss me because it makes me feel better, okay? So, yeah. And I'm not saying this to be cocky or full of myself, but I just know her tells. Whenever she's sad about leaving, she starts getting really snappy and really angry at everyone to make her transition easier. Like, she'll start nitpicking on everything. She'll say everyone's annoying. And literally the other day in the car, we were just driving and we were just listening to music, right? She looked over to me and she was like, "Why are you in such a pissy mood?" And I started laughing. I was so confused. I was like, what is she talking about? I haven't said anything. And I said, "Why are you in such a pissy mood?" And she's like, "Because you're being fucking annoying." So that's pretty much our relationship summed up into one conversation. I don't say anything and then she yells at me. But I mean, we have fun. We make silly TikToks. We go driving. Well, she drives. I sit. We sing to music. We fight, normal sibling things. Only children are quaking right now. And this week I'm starting something new, so get excited. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep this, but I mean, we'll see. But this week I was just getting some quote vibes. The one I chose goes perfectly with the theme of this episode, and I just realized that I didn't say what I'm doing before I said that, but hey, so I'm starting a quote of the week, maybe, or I'm just doing it special for this week. We'll see if I can find good quotes. But this week it is, "Everything you want is on the other side of fear." And I thought this just related to this week's episode because starting new things can be scary, and you shouldn't let the fear of the unknown stop you from doing whatever you want. And it's okay to be scared, worried, anxious, but you shouldn't let that stop you from achieving your goals or accomplishing something you want to do, or maybe starting something that you haven't started in a while, like a podcast. Sorry for whispering. That probably sounded like ASMR. I don't know if that's creepy. Because I was listening to the Daily podcast the other day. I was reading the reviews, and every single review was like, "This is such a good podcast, except for the host just randomly whispers, and I don't know what he's trying to do, but it is not working out." So if I'm like that guy, then you're welcome, and you can leave me a 1-star review. Oh. And this week was probably the most boring and average week I've had for a while now. I literally haven't done anything besides school and homework. And TBH, we're only 1 month into school. I'm already ready for it to be over. And like, goddamn, why does it have to be so boring and so useless? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love learning, but junior year is just not it. Like, why the fuck do I need to know what a derivative is or the exact number of colonists the English first brought over to Jamestown? Like, bruh, teach me how to do my taxes, buy a house, work an actual job. I don't know, real life things? Okay, but this is just a little rant, but I'm gonna cool it and keep going. Also, apparently, in 2 weeks, I have fall break, which is supposed to be like a weekend, like a long weekend break, I guess. And my mom wants to take me visiting colleges, which, I don't know, that's very overwhelming and I don't want to do that. But I'm thinking of doing an episode about like colleges and like fear of the future, unknown or whatever, maybe sometime in the future. But I already have a few things like scheduled, or like not really scheduled, they're just ideas that I put dates on. I have like nothing for them, just the idea. But that'll probably come out sometime soon, maybe 2021, we'll see. This week I also wrote a blog post for my blog, Carmen, which is linked below in the description of this episode. And that was pretty cool. I felt pretty productive. And obviously I'm recording this episode right now, but other than that, I haven't really done anything. I mean, I've studied for a physics test, written an essay, done lots of calculus problems, annotated a primary source, had a Harkness discussion in Spanish that literally made me want to die. But really, I haven't really been doing anything besides school. Oh my gosh, wait, I just remembered something. I actually finished a book the other day and it was super good. Oh my gosh, I'm low-key obsessed. But the series I'm currently reading is called A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And it's like this fantasy romance kind of fiction shit. And I'm low-key too obsessed with like fictional characters in every book. And I swear that I care more about the lives of make-believe people than people in real life. Like if something dramatic happens to a character, I will bawl my eyes out. If something happens to someone I know, I don't give a fuck, okay? I really don't. And maybe, is that like sociopath vibes? I don't know. Is it? Okay, maybe it is, but I love fictional characters, okay? I get too attached. Movies, books, TV shows, whatever. It's my shit. I love it. And I really want to do an episode just talking about like my favorite books or reading in general, or like the power of literature or something like that. I don't know. I think that'd be cool because I really love reading. Okay. Not sorry that I care more about fictional characters than you. Well, not you, because you're cool and you listen to my podcast, so you're a bad bitch. So therefore I do like you and do care about your life. And also I finally exercised yesterday for the first time in a very long while. It felt so nice, and I followed a Yoga with Adriene video and just kind of vibed. Her video was called Yoga Party, and it was so nice. And I just, it was a much needed break from a busy school day, and it was just like a 25-minute video or something. It was called like Yoga Party. It was so cute. I love her. Her videos are so good, and I just did it during like a study hall period. Since I'm in online school, I can kind of, well, not online school, but real school, but like online version. Yeah. And so I can just kind of do whatever during my study hall. So I thought I'd take a break, and it was so nice to just stretch and relax and like not really have to focus on school or anything. And it was really good. I highly suggest. And I'm not someone who likes like rigorous exercise. Like I can't do HIIT workouts. I feel like I've talked about this, or it might be on my blog. I don't know. I hate sweating. I hate getting out of breath. I have asthma too, so it's like not fun. And so yoga is perfect. Yoga feels so good. I'm hoping later today to do some yoga. And in case you haven't listened to any of my other episodes, then you wouldn't know, but today is Friday, which is my recording day. It's around 8:30 a.m. So happy morning to me. Happy Monday to you, or whenever you're listening to this, happy day. Every day is a good day. I feel like that's from a song. Is it from a song? I don't know. But I was just thinking this morning how everyone on Instagram always posts like pictures on on Fridays saying like happy weekend, or like Thursdays, it's almost the weekend, or Saturdays, oh my gosh, happy weekend, whatever. But no one ever posts things like on Mondays where it's like happy Monday, happy Tuesday, happy Wednesday. But like, why is that? Like, why do we wait till just 2 days of the week to like determine they're good or like they're worthy of our attention? Like, I love Mondays, okay? Mondays are such good days. I mean, you get to restart your week. You feel good. You feel energized. You feel productive. You get to listen to my podcast. So what more can you ask for? Like, Mondays are the shit. And I love how in the beginning of every one of my episodes, I just rant. I mean, it's my podcast, so I'm going to do whatever I want. But I really just spent like 10 minutes not talking about today's topic. So let's change that. Let's throw a reverse Uno card. Okay. We're like, hot psych. Now we're actually going to talk about this topic. What if one day I just had like a title and I didn't talk about it the whole time until like 2 minutes at the end? I wouldn't do that. No, me? Never. No, I'm kidding. I actually wouldn't do that because I don't even know if I could talk about my life for that long. Like, honestly, it's not that interesting and I'm not really doing anything. So let's change that. I'm going to talk about today's topic. And obviously, you know, from reading the title of this episode, that it is all about how and why to start a podcast as a teen, plus my story, not really, but kind of, and some super helpful advice and tips. So I'm not going to delay any further. Oh, but wait. Wouldn't be the Girly Girl podcast episode if I didn't include this before starting the actual content. Me saying I'm going to start, then throwing a curveball and be like, no. So don't forget to leave a review, subscribe, follow, do all the things. Okay, give you a second to do that. Okay, now let's start. What should I start with? Oh, I know. Okay, so let's first cover why I started this podcast. In case you didn't know, I started this podcast in August. To be honest, it was not something I really thought much about. I kind of just looked up how to start a podcast for free and then did it. I thought about starting a podcast for a few days before I posted the trailer, and I didn't really know what I was doing and wasn't sure if it was gonna go anywhere, but I thought, why not at least give it a shot? So I did. And so as I said, I started this podcast in August, and honestly, it was just because I had gotten so bored and tired of blogging. Blogging, guys, if you're not a blogger, it's so much work. And by this time, I was like posting like 3 blog posts a week. That's like 3,000 words, having to post it, having to schedule it, having to schedule Pinterest pins, which no one talks about, which takes forever, having to do my email list. Like, I was like sick of it. I was getting kind of burnt out. So then in August, I finally changed to only doing 1 post a week. And then I got bored, right? Because I was like overworking myself to then not really doing anything. So I needed to find something to occupy my time with. So then I decided to start a podcast. And I think this is mainly because I love listening to podcasts, especially my favorite one. I always talk about them in like every episode. Lily and Haley, please notice me. But it's the Call Me Candid podcast. They're so good. I love them. They're some of my favorite YouTubers. They're the cutest girls ever, and they talk about such great topics. And I love learning new things. I wanted to start something new and exciting. So starting a podcast was super fun for me to figure out and like how to learn how to do each thing, how to learn how to make the cover art, come up with the title, how to edit a podcast. Still not sure if I know how to do that very well. How to make the sound not sound so shitty. I don't know. Podcasting things. So obviously there was some trial and error in the beginning. I mean, there still is. If you listen to episode 6, you'll know why. I mean, I talk a good amount about my recording issues with Anchor, but today I am not using Anchor. I'm actually trying to use the QuickTime player, which I really don't know how this is going to work, and I hope it doesn't stop my recording, but we will see. I've never used this to record, but I kind of like it because I can see how much time has gone by. And I would tell you the time, but also I'm going to edit this so the time won't be right. But it's kind of cool just seeing how much time and not like the actual lines for the audio that like bothers me so much. Like, and I tried to figure out how to use Audacity and it was so confusing and I don't know. I'm not good at tech. Okay, I need something simple, something easy. And then Anchor just fucked up my episodes, so not using that. They have great editing, but recording 30 plus minute episodes is not would not suggest for Anchor. Okay, pretty much my goal for this podcast was to be like your best friend or your big sister that you could always turn to for tips and advice, or like to have a shoulder to lean on. And I would say in my friend group, I'm often considered like the mom of the group. So I guess you could say now that I'm your mom too. Your mom, Carmen, like that YouTuber, Your Mom Ashley. I've never watched any of her videos, but I don't know, it just came to mind. Okay, that was weird. I'm not your mom, but I could be. But I'm not. But I could be. But I'm not. But I think you get what I'm going for. When I say mom of the friend group, I mean like everyone turns to me for stuff like if someone needs a Band-Aid or if someone needs help with boy problems. Even though I've had like one boyfriend. Well, technically two, but the first one does not count. That was stupid. Okay, and or like, I don't know, like life issues or like family issues, people usually ask me first, or at least I think they do. I don't know. My friends have always turned to me for advice. I thought, why not share some of my with a bunch of other young girls? Because you never know how much something you say or do can help someone. And all I really want to do with this podcast is help people. And it's something I've always loved doing, and I'm just glad that I can help, even if it's just by recording 30-minute episodes each week, talking about like simple topics like boys, or even like self-confidence, or how to start a podcast, or how to deal with school anxiety, whatever. Just these little things are what make it so worth it. And especially getting DMs from y'all saying that you could relate, or that this was so helpful, or that you finally found something that was relatable, or I don't know, it just really makes my day. And so I guess that's just why I started a podcast. And so now I want to explain the name and the cover art of my podcast to you. So when I started out my podcast, I came up with a huge list of name ideas, but a lot of them were taken or just complete trash. And then I came up with the Girly Girl podcast, and I actually fell in love. And I chose this name because it sounded cute and trendy, and I thought that would just draw in my ideal audience, which was obviously teenage girls. And if I'm being honest, I would say that I'm not that girly, but I couldn't help it, guys. Girls. Don't you think it's weird that, like, people say guys even though when they're talking to girls? Like, I feel like weird saying girl, though. Like, girl. I don't like that. People. My peoples. I don't know. I think I need to think of something to call you, but I feel like I can't say girly girls because, like, I feel like that would be redundant, but maybe I will. Okay, but I couldn't help it, right? The name was just so cute. It is so cute, okay? You gotta admit it. It's pretty good. Pretty intelligent over here. What was that accent? I don't know. Kind of sounded a little weird. Carmen, what are you doing? I don't know. And as for my cover art, I first created a pretty boring on image that looked pretty basic. And looking back on it, like someone tagged me in their story the other day and they used like the image of my previous cover art. Oh my god. So ugly, so unbalanced. I cringed. I was like, oh no. It was disgusting. I don't know why anyone didn't tell me, like, hey girl, that is not working out. Like, Like, I love constructive criticism. Please tell me. Like, now I get, like, secondhand embarrassment looking back. Like, oh, God. And I don't even think I could listen to my first few episodes because they're probably so bad. I don't even know. I didn't even edit those. Like, I literally didn't know how to edit, like, my first 2 episodes. So, I don't know why I'm saying this. Because you probably listen to them and you're like, oh, God. Like, oh, yeah, those were shitty. But this episode, bomb ass, banging. Last episode, banging. The one before that, banging. So good. Mwah. Pieces of artwork, creativity flowing everywhere. Honestly, I don't know why I'm talking like this, but it's kind of fun and I'm kind of just vibing. And so let's just say, when thinking about my previous cover art, that graphic design has never been my strong suit, okay? That's something my sister's good at, not me. And so then I finally decided to change my ugly cover art into what it is now. The image I have now is my absolute favorite, and I spent hours creating it, okay? Hours. Yeah. And deciding what it should look like. And I'm honestly super proud of myself and thankful to my sister who let me borrow her beloved iPad. Literally, she's obsessed with it. Every day she tells me I need an iPad and that it's her favorite thing ever. She'll literally try to give me like a pitch, like she's some fucking businesswoman. And so I was really surprised when she let me borrow it. And she is, how do I put this lightly, very attached to her device. She tells me all the benefits of having an iPad, that it's the same like writing on paper. It is not, okay? It is not. It is different. Just because you have a fucking Apple Pen does not mean it feels like we're writing on paper, okay? Hadley, God. We had very heated discussions about her iPad, but so I was very grateful when she let me borrow it, and honestly, I'm glad I didn't start out with this cover art because I don't think I would have liked it as much or would have been as proud, and most likely I would have changed it again, probably into something worse. Or when I first started out, I don't know. And I'm just grateful for this trial and error and where it has led me today, here recording episode fucking 7. Honestly, kind of crazy that it's episode 7, and I've just been thinking of all the episodes I want to do. The other night I did a huge, like, massive brain dump. I'm so excited for the future and all the episodes I'm looking toward to creating. I wish I could just record them all now, but I can't. And also I keep thinking that I have class starting in like 10 minutes, but I don't, but like it's stressing me out because I'm looking at my schedule, and right now it's like 8:40 and I have class at 9:30, but I keep thinking I have class at 8:50, but I don't, and it's, oh my god, it's like stressing me the fuck out. Okay, so hopefully by now you've realized that starting a podcast is super cool and that maybe you should start one. Maybe considering. That is, if you don't have one already. But if you are someone who isn't quite convinced about why you should start a podcast, give me 3 minutes of your time and I can guarantee that I'll make you reconsider. My AP Lang teacher would be quaking right now if you heard the argument I was about to make. But whatever, fuck it, let's go. Okay, 1. You should start a podcast because it's free and easy. Literally, you don't need to spend any money if you don't want to. The only item I've ever spent money on was a mic, which is absolutely not necessary and a luxury that I'm super grateful to have. And looking at my mic right now, it makes me so happy. I kind of love it. But also, it's funny because in my last episode, the volume was so much louder compared to the previous episodes. So for anyone who's like binging it, it's going to be like episode 5 is like talking like this. And then episode 6 is going to be like that, you know? But honestly, whatever, the sound quality is a lot better, or at least I think it is, and it feels more professional, but you don't need it. You really don't. Okay, 2, a podcast is a great way to get more comfortable talking with others and sharing your feelings. Podcasting forces you to get out of your comfort zone by talking for long periods of time. I would know. And if you're anything like me, then you love to talk and have lots of opinions on different subjects and different controversial things, but you don't always know when or where to say what you mean or how to portray that in a way that makes sense. And podcasting can help you break out of your shell and form more complete thoughts and ideas. And if you aren't really into that, then podcasting can serve as a form of personal journaling. Maybe you just need to get something off your chest or want to feel more comfortable sharing your feelings and being vulnerable with yourself or even others. Sometimes I feel like we think that vulnerability just goes from us to someone else, but it can just be within yourself. Like, you need to learn to be vulnerable with yourself, and podcasting is a great way to do that. And maybe you want to be more consistent by expressing your feelings and how you actually feel, not hiding behind those walls or barriers. Whatever your goal is, you can do it with a podcast. 3, you get to connect with a bunch of other cool teens. This might be my favorite part of the argument, but podcasting allows you to interact with some super cool people who have similar interests as you do. And it's super fun to get to know other teens and hear them say that they could relate to what you were saying. 4. Starting a podcast is a really good solo activity. Since we're in the midst of a pandemic, it's always good to have backup activities for when your original ones fall through. For example, I was supposed to be playing volleyball this year and doing community service at a local adult daycare center, but due to Corona, it wouldn't really be safe to do this, and I didn't have the opportunity. I mean, I could have played volleyball, but my mom didn't really want me to. I mean, I was doing it over the summer, during summer practices, but really the guidelines they were doing weren't the safest and probably the best. So if you're in the same boat as me, then you should definitely take up podcasting. And also, as a little added bonus, which will make your parents happy, is that you can add this to your college resume. So if you're into that type of stuff or serious about school, which you should be, your education is very important, then you definitely should start a podcast. So, have I convinced you? Are you considering starting a podcast? Are you? Please, hopefully I didn't just spend 5 minutes talking about nothing for someone to say, no, that's not for me. But if it's not for you, then don't do it. Like, only do it if you think you can be consistent. I'll give you a few minutes to think it over and come back with some tips and advice for podcasting. But in the meantime, I'm going to tell you exactly how I started the Girly Girl podcast. So, as I've already said, starting a podcast is fairly simple, and you just have to know where to start. Also, remember that it's okay to not know how to do everything when you first get started. I mean, hell, I didn't even know how to edit this fucking podcast, and as I said, I didn't know how to edit till like episode 3. Like, I had no idea. I didn't even think I needed to edit. Oh man, was I wrong. I think it's funny because no one actually knows how many times you mess up on a podcast. Like, literally, I stumble over my words all the fucking time. Like, I'll rearrange sentences or I'll like totally skip words, or I'll like cough or like sneeze or something. Just gotta cut that out. Or maybe I'll like breathe really loudly. Oh my god. When I was using my phone, those were the most that I had cut out, was my breathing, because it would go like, that's what it sounded like, and it was so bad. And that's why editing those episodes where I didn't have a mic took me hours. Like, literally, one of the episodes that was, I don't know, maybe it was like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It took me like 2 hours to edit, just taking out all the breathing noises. It was so bad. But now, thanks to YouTube and plenty of trial and error, mostly error, but I've figured it out. So when I first started out this podcast, I had been recording on my computer without a mic, only using the original computer audio. Please don't do this. Please don't. This is a mega mistake that I had, and I'm sure others have also. This is a big, big no-no. And when I finally changed over to using my phone to record, it was like magic. Like a light switch turned on, the light bulb over your head, whatever special moment, or like it's like an aha moment where you're like, oh shit, that was good. You know? Do you ever get those feelings where you're like, fuck yeah, that was rad? I don't know. I do. Also, someone told me I say I don't know a lot, but okay, sorry. Not sorry. I'm not gonna cut out every time I say I don't know. It takes too long. And I don't give a fuck. That's like a TikTok sound. I don't know if it is. That's probably not even the exact tune. Oh, I just remembered it. It's like, do you think I give a fuck? Because I don't. It's like something like that. I don't remember. But the difference between recording with my computer and my phone was astronomical. It is way too loud. TikTok reference, anybody? In case you couldn't tell from listening to any of my episodes, I have a very large and probably toxic obsession with TikTok. I love it, okay? It's so good. It's so funny. So many sexy boys. So many funny videos. Like, what's more to love? Like, I hate Snapchat, okay? And soon, I don't know when exactly, but I'm going to be doing an episode about social media. So I'm sure you can hear me talk about my love for TikTok and my hatred towards Snapchat, or how I don't really like Instagram, but I just still use it for my podcast, but I don't use it for my personal account. Okay, moving on. And I feel like I've already covered most of the information for how I started a podcast earlier. I don't really want to give any more away before getting into my tips for you, so let's just move on. So my first tip for you is to use Anchor. And no, before you ask, this is not sponsored. I don't have that many people listening to this podcast to make money, so there's no point in doing sponsorships. Personally, I think they're annoying and disturb the episode, and if it's only going to make me like $5, then no. And like, they're fucking annoying, and I don't know, I don't like listening to them. And I think, like, I really like the podcast Wild Till 9, but they always have so many like ads and sponsorships, and it just like really ruins the flow. But like Call Me Candid hasn't had any, and I love it. It's like just them, and I don't like sponsorships, okay? They're annoying. This is just a hobby. This is not my job. This is not something I'm trying to make money with. It's just for fun. Okay? It's a very serious hobby that I spent money on, but I'm not making money on. I mean, I could probably if I wanted to, but I don't know. And I genuinely think that Anchor is super helpful, and my transition to podcasting would not have been as easy without it. And you can literally edit, record, and schedule all your episodes on Anchor. And not to mention my favorite feature, but you can automatically distribute your podcast to 9 different platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts, which is pretty cool. And also, I know I said earlier that it's not the best for recording, but I think I just messed something up. But to be honest, it was pretty easy. All you had to do was click a button, but I mean, I just somehow messed it up. But for beginner, super easy. And I think you can also use the Anchor app, which is super cool because you can technically do everything for a podcast on your phone. I mean, you can edit on the app, you could record on the app, and they also have this really cool thing where you can do group recording. Like, I did this with my podcast with Emily from Weekly Talks with Emily. It was super cool, and I didn't know you could do it. And I mean, that's pretty cool, but also I think recording on Zoom with other people is a lot better just because you get like a better vibe because you can actually see them, and it's like a FaceTime call and it feels more natural. But I mean, if you don't have Zoom or don't want to do Zoom, then using the Anchor group recording is a great way to do that. And I know that I sound like a walking ad, but I'm being serious, okay? To start a podcast, you need to use some sort of podcasting platform. Oh, I almost forgot the best part, but Anchor is free. Free. I did that thing, you know, like SpongeBob, where it's like imagination, and then there's like the meme and it goes intoxication, but this one is just like free. Okay, it doesn't go with it, but like I'm doing like the rainbow with my hands. Okay, free, like just free. I love free things. Okay, for anything I do, if it's not free, I'm not using it. Like, I don't buy any 99-cent apps. Like, that's just a waste of my fucking money, okay? Well, not my money, my parents' money, because, like, okay. I don't have a job, guys. Don't hate. I don't. I probably should. Whatever. Okay, keep going. So, woohoo! Who doesn't love free shit? Am I right? Or am I right? And my second tip for you is to learn from YouTube videos. And this will be much more beneficial to you than asking someone on Instagram how to do something. For anyone who's asked me how to do stuff on Instagram, I'm not singling you out or targeting you. I'm just saying, feel free to ask me. I love interacting with y'all, but don't rely just on what I'm saying. It's always great to learn for yourself and to figure out things by yourself and like just to gain that outside knowledge and seek the knowledge and wanting to learn. Not to mention, it's also pretty fun just to watch a bunch of videos, and it's for research purposes. Of course, what else? Not for fun. No, research. Duh. And YouTube can teach you how to use Anchor, how to record on your phone, how to come up with a bomb-ass podcast name, and so much more helpful advice. And you might as well take advantage of all the resources you have, and the internet is a lovely place filled with a plethora of information. Oh my god, I just felt like an old lady saying that. Plethora. Why is that such a weird word? Plethora. You know that thing where you like, if you say the same word over and over again, like it doesn't sound like a word? Or like when you spell something, some things just sound like so weird. I don't know, but like plethora, 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 plethora. See, it doesn't sound like a word anymore. Sorry, that was so annoying. I'm leaving that in, okay? Future Carmen, do not edit this out. Everyone wants to hear you say plethora 10 times straight. And moving on to number 3, you do not need fancy equipment. You do not need anything fancy or special to start your podcast. If anyone tells you that you need a mic stand, or even like a recording studio, you don't, okay? You really don't. They're just trying to make you buy something. Like, I mean, having all those things is wonderful and is great and can add to the experience and the quality of your podcast, but it is not necessary. I mean, you have everything you need. And for your podcasts, all you truly need to record and, like, pretty much make the whole thing is just, like, your phone. Like, you can literally do everything on your phone. I mean, it's nice to have, like, a laptop to edit, but if you don't, you can edit on your phone. I mean, you literally can, and that's pretty cool. And it's just that simple. And if you have the privilege of being able to invest in a microphone, then by all means go ahead. But it is absolutely not necessary. Okay, now for tip number 4. After you have set up an account on Anchor and have done some research by watching YouTube videos and not spent that much money and have free things, free app, free recording equipment. Yeah, you got everything you need, biddy. My friend says biddy all the time, and I just said it like yesterday, and now I've been saying it. When I say like all day today, I mean that it's like 9 a.m. and I've been saying it all day. As in like twice this morning. All day, right? Yes, it has been all day. And you need to spend a good amount of time thinking about the purpose and the goal of your podcast. And keep this... Oh my god. What the fuck? My lights literally just went off. Oh my god, my heart just dropped. Oh my god. Sometimes I think there's a ghost in my house. Like, is anyone... Like, my dad told me one time that there were ghosts, like, in his house. Also, my Wi-Fi just died. Oh my god, I'm like kind of scared. My heart is beating so fast. Okay. God damn. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. Literally the lights just flicked on and off and my Wi-Fi just disconnected. Now it's back on, but okay, that was... Oh my god, that was scary. Okay, I'm going to keep going, but you need to spend a good amount of time thinking about the purpose and goal of your podcast. And this is something you need to do before you record your first episode, and it shouldn't be an afterthought. It needs to be something you spend a good amount of time on. And think about how you want your audience to feel, who they are, what they might be needing right now, and how you can help them. And remember that these episodes aren't just for your enjoyment of making. They are for your audience to listen to, and so you shouldn't be making these episodes just for you. You need to be making them for them. I mean, unless you're doing like some sort of personal journal thing and it's like just for you, I don't know. But like if you're posting it for other people to listen to, post it for them. You can have the joy of recording it. You get to pick your topics, but do something that they'll be able to relate to and they'll enjoy. And going along with tip number 4, you shouldn't just go with the first name you think of. Most likely it'll be absolute trash and you'll end up hating it. Do not take this lightly. I'm being dead ass. I'm being very serious. My Wi-Fi just went out again. Honestly, I'm very glad I'm using the QuickTime Player right now because it does not need Wi-Fi, so it hasn't stopped. And if I was using Anchor, it probably would have stopped. So, bless. Because if I had to record this again, I might throw hands. Like, I would throw hands. At what? I don't know. Do you ever just, like, want to hit, like, a wall? I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I just want to hit something. Like, I always thought I should do, like, boxing just so I can, like, hit something. Because, like, I don't want to hit someone. Like, I'm not, like, a violent person. But, like, just get my anger out, you know? Anyone relate? Or am I just being, like, a little violent sociopath today? I'm kidding. I am not. Kind of. So take some time to reflect and think about a name and create a list of a bunch of possible name ideas. If you really can't think of anything, then you can use a name generator, but this might not get you the most creative name. And to urge you to see how important this is, let me give you some of the first name ideas I got before not settling because it was good and I didn't settle, before choosing the glorious name, the Girly Girl Podcast. First, there was Teen Advice. Yep, super creative, right? That was it. Really eye-catching and interesting. No. Then there was Gen Z Advice. We're going step up, right? Advice by Carmen Applegate, very creative. I like it. I like where we're going. A different generation. What does that mean? I don't know. And there were so much more. There were a lot of other shitty names. And there were even a few names that I thought of that were already taken, such as A Girlfriend's Guide, A Girl's Guide, Gen Z Guide. If you couldn't tell, there was a bit of a theme going on there. But you get my point. Let's just say that, I don't know, hypothetically, I settled on the Teen Advice Podcast. I would have fucking hated it after 2 weeks and would have probably stopped podcasting. Like, I'm that person. If I don't like it, then I'm not doing it. Like, I would have hated it, okay? So make your name count and make sure you actually like it and will continue to like it in the future. Also, it's important to make sure your name isn't already taken and that it'll be something that appeals to your ideal audience. Like, don't just choose the first thing that comes into your head. Make sure, as I said, make sure it's available. You don't want to have the same name as someone else because then if their podcast has more exposure, then you're not going to get any because whenever anyone looks up your name, they're going to go to their podcast. Make sure that it is creative, appeals to your ideal audience, whoever that is. And just don't pick a shitty name, y'all. Like, don't. And another tip I have for you, I actually didn't include this. I have a Google Doc I'm looking at right now, like just with an outline and a few points. But I didn't include this, so I'm just going to put it in right here. But that is, use an outline for your episodes. Like, I mean, you don't have to write a goddamn script or something. But, like, make an order of how you want to talk. Don't just jump into an episode and start talking about whatever you fucking want. Like, girl, no one wants to listen to that. No one wants to hear you ramble on. Please have a structure and make your episodes so much better and seem like you actually know what you're doing. And it'll also prevent you from going like, or just having long pauses like that. So create an outline. If you don't feel comfortable, then you can always just create a script. But I feel like 1, that takes so much goddamn time. 2, it's a waste of time. 3, it doesn't sound as natural when you're talking. So just create an outline. Just create a structure of what you want to talk about. You can use a Google Doc. of what you want to make sure to include and not forget and make an order. It's like you're writing an essay, right? Like before you write an essay, you always want to have like an outline of what you're going to talk about in the introduction, in your body paragraphs, in your conclusion, whatever. You need to have a structure. Okay, now that I got that little small mini tidbit of advice in, let's just move on to the next one that is in my outline. I love my outline. It helps so much. If I didn't have it, I would not be able to speak words. I mean, I could, but you wouldn't understand, right? So, next tip. Speaking of appealing to your ideal audience, cover art is also super important. And I've already touched on this a bit, but I thought I'd go a little more in depth just to speak about it. And no one is going to want to click on your podcast if your cover art is ugly. And yes, this might be shallow, but it's so true. I mean, just think about it. If you see a podcast, someone tells you to listen to your podcast, and then you look at their cover art and you're like, do I want to listen to that? Like, if someone has not good quality cover art, you're probably going to think that their podcast is also not good quality. I mean, maybe this is just from my perspective, but if I'm scrolling on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and I see something, if the cover art is not visually appealing to me, I'm not even going to think about clicking on it, much less listening to it. I mean, people look at the cover of a book before deciding to even pick it up or read it. So make sure your cover art is unique, stands out, it's eye-catching, and that it'll appeal to your ideal audience. And also make sure that if you have any text on your image that you can actually read it and that the colors aren't too harsh on your eyes. I would suggest not using a cursive font just because that can be sometimes hard to read. Don't use clashing colors. Like, you definitely don't want to use like a red image with blue text. Like, no one can read that. That puts strain on the eyes. It's not good. We don't want that over here. And a really good example of cover art is the Bright Eyed podcast. And hers, it's like a sunflower thing. It has a pretty monochromatic color palette of yellows and oranges. Her text is super bold, easy to read. It's really satisfying to look at, and it's super pretty. So if you need something to reference to, then I would definitely suggest checking it out. I have her podcast linked below, so you can take a look at that. And my next piece of advice for you is just start. There will be so many aspects that weigh you back or prevent you from starting today, but don't let them. Take the leap of faith, and as Nike would say, just do it. Or as I would say, do it, bitch. And I'm really just pulling out quotes and catchphrases from my ass today. It's like a hat, you know? Or like a magician, how they have a hat and just like keep pulling out the bunnies, or like when there's scarves in their mouth and they just keep pulling out the scarves. Like, they just keep coming. They just keep coming. They're still going. I say that even though I've said like 2 quotes today, maybe. It feels like a lot, okay? I'm not like a quote person, which is funny because on my email list, I always send like positive vibes, or I changed it to like positive vibes and energy, but it's pretty much just like a bunch of Pinterest quotes, and they all feel so cheesy, but they're so cute and they're like meaningful, you know? But like, I feel like any quote is like so damn cheesy. But like, they're not. They're so good. I love quotes, okay? And remember that you are the only person who's holding you back, so get out of the damn way, okay? Move out of your way. Get out. Let yourself keep going. And stop being a goddamn roadblock, okay? And this is something that I struggle with quite a bit. And I always like to know what's going to happen and have an exact plan of everything I do. And I like to be prepared in advance. Like, for example, going out to lunch with friends. I don't like finding out 2 hours before I have to go. I already have plans. I've already thinking about doing my homework at that time, or recording a podcast episode, which I don't do in the afternoon. But like, hypothetically, maybe if I wanted to. And I like to know in a day advance, at least. I like to know things in advance, what times it's going to happen. If I've done an interview on your podcast, then you know that I like to know at least a week before what the plan is, what day we're doing, what time we're doing, what the topic is. Like, I like to know in advance. But you can't always do this, and it's okay to step into the unknown. It's okay to fail. You just have to get back up again and keep trucking along. The next 3 tips pretty much all go together, so I'm just going to clump them into one. So the main topic thing, market yourself. To do this, you first need to start off by creating a social media account for your podcast, and I use Instagram because I know the people I'm looking for will be on this platform, since more teenagers would use Instagram rather than like Facebook or Twitter or something. But if your target audience is different from mine, then maybe create an account on a platform that they're most likely to use or interact with. I'm not really sure, but I feel like older people lean more towards Facebook, like if you're going for like moms or whatever. I don't know why a mom would listen to this, but like, I don't know, maybe you're a teen talking about moms, or maybe you're a mom trying to learn more about teens, or I don't know. But if your audience spends time on Facebook, then create a Facebook account and don't waste time on Instagram. Like, you need to select where you're going to put your energy. Like, you can't do all these platforms at once. Just choose one to focus on and put your sole attention on that. When you create an Instagram account, don't be afraid to start following people. Like, don't wait for people to find you. If you have 0 followers, no one's going to find you. You need to find people first. And so to get more exposure, you should follow some similar accounts. Therefore, when someone follows you, you will have a higher chance of being recommended to them. And also, you need to interact with their accounts, comment on them, so that people who follow this account and like their content will also see yours as similar and will also interact with your content and maybe follow you or listen to your podcast, whatever. And this is why you shouldn't be afraid to market yourself. Don't feel guilty for promoting your podcast after you just spent countless hours creating an outline, recording it, editing it, scheduling it, posting it on different platforms, editing the YouTube video, whatever. You deserve your hard work to be listened to by thousands of people. You deserve it. Even if it's just like 5 people listening, you need to market yourself, and no one's going to do it for you. So you need to be your own advocate and step out of your comfort zone. And when I first started out my Instagram, a way I would do this was by DMing everyone who followed me, by sending them like a thank you, some information about me, what my podcast was about, what my main goal is, and a link for them to listen. And this made me able to engage with more people and let them interact with my content. And I don't do this as much now, but getting to my first few hundred followers, it definitely helped me out. And this also helps you build bridges between other podcasters and other people on Instagram, whatever other content creators. And lastly, don't give up. Just keep trying and experimenting, and remember that it's okay to fail and start over. Remember, the first time you do something, it's never going to be perfect. I mean, think about riding a bike. The first time you rode a bike, you couldn't ride perfectly. I mean, I still can't. Guys, I need to tell about my PTSD from bikes. But I mean, the first time you have training wheels, right? You can't ride perfectly. The first time you get off your training wheels, you have to learn how to do it again. It's like a whole new thing. We're always learning. Everything's always changing. And we have to just learn how to adapt and let go of perfectionism and just know that you will make mistakes, but that's okay. And it's totally normal. And this failure doesn't mean that you should give up, and you shouldn't even consider it as failure. And growth happens when we fail and pick ourselves up, and when we pick ourselves back up again. So just keep doing this, and you'll be shocked at how much progress you're able to make. I feel like I've been talking forever. On my time, it says it's been an hour, which probably for you, it's not an hour because I'll have edited this to cut it down, since I did stumble a few times and I did have a few pauses and mess up my words and not do English correctly, but that's cool. And I hope that this episode was super helpful for those of you who have podcasts. Maybe you learned something new or something you want to change or add. Maybe you want to redo your cover art, or maybe rethink your name of your podcast, or really hone in on your goal of your podcast, your purpose for the podcast. And for those of you wanting to start a podcast or thinking about this, I hope this gives you a really good stepping stone, and now your fear is lessened and that you aren't as afraid to step into the unknown and just start. And also, if you're planning on starting a podcast, please DM me and send me the link. I would love to listen to it. I would love to check it out. I love supporting fellow podcasters. And honestly, send me a DM reminding me of your post. This happened the other day for the We're All Queens podcast, and I didn't know she had posted a new episode since I hadn't been really looking at Instagram. I had been focusing on school, and she sent me a DM reminding me to listen to the episode, and I did, and it was wonderful. I mean, it was amazing. It was super interesting. It was about Disney princesses. I'll make sure to link it down below. I really enjoyed it, and I wouldn't have listened to it if she hadn't DM'd me. So feel free to reach out to me, send me a link, and with others, send others the link to your podcast if you think they'll enjoy it. Post it on your story. Don't be afraid to be like, hey, listen to my podcast. Post multiple posts about it on your Instagram. Like, just do it. You got it, girl. And I'm so glad that I finally recorded this episode because I feel like it was much needed before I dove more deeply into some other topics. And I think it also kind of relates to episode 6. So that's a plus, like just getting like organized, and like, I guess if you're wanting to start a podcast, you should definitely listen to episode 6 because then you can learn how to be organized, how I manage my time. And before you go, don't forget to leave a review, subscribe, follow, do all the things. And I'm so grateful for all the love and support I've received so far. And I can't thank you enough for all the joy this has given me. And honestly, it has really been a light, just like during this time for me and worrying about junior years, school, colleges, my blog. Like, this podcast has really been something that I can lean on and rely on to always be there and to have a community of people who really love and support me and appreciate what I'm doing and appreciate the time and the effort that I put into these episodes and making an outline and recording them and editing them and promoting them on Instagram and interacting with y'all on Instagram. I really appreciate it, and it means the world to me that you listen to this episode, that you've gotten to the end of this episode. Like, that's pretty rad. It's been an hour and you're still here, and oh my god, thank you so much for listening. It means the world to me, and I don't think I can express my gratitude enough. And just to wrap this up with some final reminders, make sure to check out my blog, Carmen. Don't forget to join my newsletter. I send out an email every Sunday, just like a weekly update or whatever, just what I've been up to, maybe some lessons I've learned this week, some of my favorite items, favorite podcasts. See if you're featured on that if you're a podcaster. I used to do weekly shout outs. I stopped doing that though. It didn't really work out. No one wanted a shout out. Surprisingly, no one really messaged me about wanting to do that, so I took that out. But what I'm reading this week, some positive quotes. So yeah, make sure to join my newsletter, and if you need advice or help or anything, or maybe have some constructive criticism or whatever, then you can send emails to the girlygirlpodcast@gmail.com or DM me at the Girly Girl Podcast. Pretty much everything is just at the Girly Girl Podcast. And you don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you can stay updated whenever I post. And if you're on YouTube, then make sure to subscribe and like this video. Comment below what you thought. If you're on Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave a review. If you're on Spotify, then follow, whatever. And I hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and I will see you next week. Bye, girly girls.